Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are all having a good time and are learning a lot of things today. Hopefully I can add a little bit to that as well. Just to introduce myself, as introduced, my name is Clemens. I'm the CEO of Hospitality EQ, but at the same time I wear many different hats. I've been a judge for South African Tourism Awards, African Tourism Leadership Forums Awards, and at the same time I've got a business and I'm a co-founder of a company called Connect Technologies, which develops mobile technology for the hospitality industry. So that's quite a few different things. And as you can see here today, we're going to be talking about the role of technology in sustainable tourism. So talking a little bit about technology in general is what it's all about. And to give an example of our travels here, we flew from South Africa via Seychelles to Mumbai. And a little thing, we heard about visas earlier. So for us to come here, we need a visa. So at the airport, before we can check in, they check the visa, normal procedure. Make sure that you are not returned somewhere along the line, as these expenses nowadays come for the airline rather than for the traveler themselves. So this is all done. Now we come to Seychelles to get off the plane for the transfer, just to get back on the same plane later, but that's another story. And again, they are checking the visas of every single person. Now, this takes a lot of time and effort and delays the whole process. This should all be done through technology. So this is just one of the different examples of how technology can make things more effortlessly. In previous presentations, I was here last year as well, I spoke about the reasons why people are not implementing technology. And there's a lot of different excuses, I call them, why people are not doing it. I went into a lot of detail during that presentation, but I just want to touch on it because it's very important. The reason why it is very important is that the traveler of 2025, which is only a couple of years ago, are the kids that are in school today. Those kids in school today know way better than most of us. I know there's a couple of students here as well, but way better than most of us on how to work mobile technology or any technology for that matter. So it's important that we adapt to that and are ready for those future travelers. So one of the most heard excuses are that there is no money. I don't have money, you can't find it in the budget. Maybe true, maybe budget is tight, everybody battles to find money. But the reality is that if you need to replace your bed, to use an hotel example, you will find the money to replace your beds somewhere, somehow, because if you don't, you close shop. The same with technology. So you might not have the money. You need to find the money because your neighbor will, and you're going to lose business. And what is it going to cost you as a hotel to get that business back in future? It's going to cost you a lot more than trying to find the money now. The other excuse that we hear a lot is that it's complicated. True, changes a lot of things change. Reality is that in a hotel environment, there's a lot of complicated processes. So, for example, again, we've got a hotel. This hotel has got a couple of restaurants. Those restaurants will change their menu 2-3 times a year. They don't even think about it. You pull, how many times do you change your restaurant menus? On a regular basis. We don't think about it, it's part of what we do. But what process is involved? We have to do research. What do our guests want to eat? We have to check the pricing of the items. What is going to cost? What's the cost of sales and at what price do we have to sell it? Where do we find the right suppliers to bring the produce to us? We need to train our staff in terms of how to prepare the dishes. We need to print collateral for the menus in the restaurant so people know what to choose from. We need to, in some cases, change the layout of the kitchen because the processes don't work. The whole workflow needs to change. It's a big process. But we don't even think twice of doing it because it's expected. And then I think one of the other main reasons is that Unfortunately, and I get hammered for saying this quite often, but people are just lazy. They just don't want to do it. If it's not that needed, we just don't do it. So those are all things to bear in mind. And people say, oh, but I don't understand it. Yeah, we live in 2020. There's this thing that's called the internet. You can find anything you want. It's very easy. So sustainable tourism. Here we go. It's about three things. Do we all know what the three main things are? There's one P on the board there already. So it's about, there we go, 3 Ps. It's about people, planet, and profits. Right. So talk about people. It's assisting the communities. We heard a little bit about it before. How can that be done? It can be done in different ways. It's driving employment. As mentioned before, there's many jobs that come out of tourism directly and indirectly. Then another thing is community involvement, which we've heard about. And again, to give you an example, is we went on to a walking tour through Darafi with a company called Reality Tours. Lovely experience, great. But the biggest thing is that 80% of their profits, at least so they say, go back to the community to educate them, build schools, and so on. So there's different ways of getting the community involved, which is obviously very good. Planet. We've already heard a lot about it. I don't want to talk about it today too much, as I'm pretty sure that in the next 2 days we'll hear a lot more about it. But profit. People complain when you talk about sustainable tourism and you talk about profits, creating profits. The reality is, if a business is not profitable, it's not going to be sustainable. It's very, very simple. Sustainable tourism is not just about saving the planet and making things better, less waste. So let's move on from there. Let's talk about how things have changed. So if you look what's been going on and how the whole evolution, we started, probably about 25, 30 years ago, we got very excited because from just having paper, we actually moved around to seeing things on a computer. And we could find things there, but it was very one-directional. We were given what we were looking for specifically. Where now that's very different, and we'll go into that in more detail later. Then we actually got these explorers and everything was nice, and then we started to do business online. We actually were able to order product online. It was the biggest thing, but it was all very impersonal, one-directional, and not very friendly. And then all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, the social and the human factor came back in. It became important, the interaction, the two-way communication. Social media, I mean, who hasn't got social media nowadays? Everything is available to everyone, everywhere, at any time. And there's social business now. It's connected, it's adaptable. Everybody knows. The internet knows before you what you actually need and what you want, because it will pop up on your feeds everywhere. So it's very important to understand how that has changed, and that you can't just be unaware of that. So how does that represent in numbers? Just to give it a little bit of background there. Everything is mobile. Not everything, but the majority of it is mobile. There's 5.2 billion mobile phone users around the world. 3.3 billion of those have a smartphone. 3.2 billion active social media users. It's a massive number. And as you can see again, 90% of that is through mobile. $6.2 billion have been paid through contactless payments. Now, most properties are not ready for that yet. So you need to think about it. And it's forecasted to go to 14 billion in the next 2 years. It's a big amount of money. 83 billion euros spent on food delivery services on mobile, to be going to 20 billion a year via apps by 2025. 82 billion in taxi fares through apps. We all know locally we've got Ola, we've got Uber, we've got Taxify. There's tons of these different companies around nowadays. If your business is not ready to work with these type of technologies, you are not going to be sustainable. It's extremely important to understand that you have to move forward. You have to invest in technology. Should you not invest in technology, you will not be sustainable. So a quick recap here of what it used to be. We went from the impersonal web, where you had to put in what you wanted, you get specific feedback, to a personal social web. As I mentioned earlier, the internet knows before you what you want and will present it to you. What that means for your business is, if your business is not presented right, if your keywords, your SEO, and all that work is not done correctly, you will not be presented to your customers who do not know that they want you, if that makes any sense. So it's important that you've got everything geared up and ready for this. Desktop. Everything used to be on a desktop. Everybody, then you sit on your office, on your desk, and you see what is happening there. That's what it used to be like. Today, as we said, billions of people have got a mobile device. They use this device 24/7, 365. They're online constantly. You need to be online constantly, because if not, you're going to be losing out. And then from opaque interaction, one-way directional, everything is interactional now. In the past, a supplier could decide what information am I going to give to my potential customers. Today, customers sometimes know more about your business than you do. Through, in the hospitality industry, your TripAdvisor, your Booking.com, all your feedback mechanisms that are there, the social media, everything is out there. So you need to be aware. And people expect immediate reactions. They don't want to sit and wait for 12 hours for a response. They want it now. There we go. So how does this look, and where are the touch points for a tourism or hospitality perspective? So pre-trip, you've got your planning phase. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? How does it look? Different products can be sold at different times, different places. You've got travel, you've got accommodation, you've got information, you've got tours. During your check-in and your travel part, I mean, I just spoke about the visas. And to use another example is that I travel quite extensively. And I come to the same hotels at a regular basis. And here I come to a hotel that I've been twice already or 3 times before. They should have a profile on their PMS for me. But still, I get presented with a piece of paper where I need to complete my name, my address, passport number. They want my credit card details and a copy of the passport. And I understand that there's certain legalities with the passport and the information and so on with credit cards. The reality is, a lot of the information that you're asking me for, I've already given you a couple of times. It should be a printout, or ideally something digital that I can sign on an iPad, so we don't waste the paper anymore. Something that's quick and easy, rather than me standing at a reception desk for 2-3 minutes completing this form, wasting time. A receptionist can talk to me about the wonderful facilities that are available at the hotel. Can I make a booking for you at the spa? Would you like a massage? Do you know about a great restaurant? Can I make a booking for dinner for you tonight? Rather spend time on that than a receptionist sitting on the desk like this and me completing something. Let's not waste time. Use time effectively. Use the technology that's there. During the stay, engagement between the guest and the hotel, extremely important, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more just now. In-room services, concierge services, in-room billing, dining, room controls, loyalty, offers, data insight, intelligence. There is tons and tons of touch points during the traveler journey where technology can make an impact, where it can either drive more revenue, give you intelligence to make informed decisions, it can save you money, it can make you money, it enhances the guest experience. It is what the guest wants nowadays, like we said. The future travelers are in school today. They want that technology. So let's go to the next step. Oops. Guests want to be engaged. As that says there, engage me, empower me. Very important, hear me. A guest wants to be heard. Doesn't help that they tell you, or the guest tells you, I want ABC. You need to hear and you need to action accordingly. The last one, know me, and this is some research done by Deloitte. So this is not something that's sucked up out of the air. Guests want to be heard, engaged, and known. That is what technology has brought. The evolution that we went through earlier from basic digitals to social is what comes through here as well. It's not about simply giving a service. Yes, the basics are still very important. Nobody wants to come to a hotel and there's a dirty bathroom or dirty sheets or anything like that. The basics are always important and always needed. But a guest wants to be known, recognized, and engaged. So now we talk about big data and getting all this information. As you can see here, 28% of hoteliers feel that they're actually not using the data. All that data is available. We're all about gathering data 24/7. Everybody wants that information. How much are people spending? Where they're spending it? What are they spending it on? It doesn't stop. But very few people actually create action plans related to that. What do we do with that information? And there's technology, again, that can analyze all of this for you, business intelligence, and put it together and say, listen here, this guest has spent so much here, so much there on this, and that's when he did it. This is when you should promote that special to that person. It's all there, but we're not using it. So let's go look at that and look at a couple of real ways of how this happens. Increasing guest expectations. Again, and I've said this a few times, the traveler from the future is in school now. They want technology. They understand it and pretty much can't live without it. So their expectations are getting higher and higher in terms of this. Think about this. A lot of families, travel is still a luxury. A lot of families save for the year, a little bit every month, to have a family holiday at the end of the year. A lot of people have a lot of luxuries at home nowadays. Most people have got Wi-Fi at home. They've got some sort of satellite television. They've got air conditioning in environments like this. There's a lot of basics that people have got at home today. Now, having saved for this luxury called travel and a holiday, and you come to a hotel that doesn't give you those core basics that you've got at home, it's just not acceptable. And those core basics are changing consistently, all the time, quicker and quicker. We have to adapt to that. As I said, guests want to be heard and they want to be known. They want you to know them. They expect you to know them because you've got all the technology out there. It's very simple nowadays, and again, there's technology out there that can scan and scrape the internet for information. So there's systems where if a guest makes a booking with a certain email address, which is linked to their social media profile, you can have all their information, their likes, their dislikes, what do they look at, how do they dress, what do they look for. You've got all the tools to know your guests already, and based on that information, you can personalize their stay. If you know that a guest really enjoys red wine, how fantastic will it be that when they get to their room and there's a small bottle of red wine and say that, thank you, we know you enjoy your red wine, enjoy this. Or if you don't have the budget to do that, because we all talk about budget and we don't have the money, make sure that you send a promotion to that guest for the red wine that's on special in your restaurant. Because you know they like it, there's a high chance that will actually buy it. So know your guest. Owning the guest, very important. As most of you that are operating hotels will know, is that when you have guests booking through booking.com, you have their phone number. You don't get their actual email address. It's a made-up address from booking.com. How are you going to target that guest before their stay? Because guests that are engaged before their stay, pre-stay, will actually spend a lot more money with you than guests that just rock up there and then you start talking to them. So own your guests. Drive revenue directly wherever you can. Own the information. Own the tools. Upgrading legacy technology. So we've been talking about things that change quickly and so on. Hospitality industry in general, globally, has been one of the business or industries that have the slowest pickup if it comes to technology. There is systems in place that just don't work, that cannot integrate with all the new technology that's out there. So once you start looking at new technology, which more than likely every business has to do on a regular basis, look that you've got open APIs, backends, things that can plug in, mix, match, integrate. If you don't do that, you're going to have an issue. Managing this digital marketing. So in the past, we had a website to look after and maybe 1 or 2 social media accounts. Today, again, everything is integrated. It's everywhere. New platforms pop up on a regular basis. You've got TikTok nowadays. You've got so many things. It just does not stop. It's become a full-time job to make sure that you can manage all these systems and processes. Make sure that everything is updated. There's nothing worse than having a social media account that is actually not active. Rather don't have one than one that's not active. Sustainability. Again, we won't talk too much about it, but people expect you to make an effort in the very least. And as it mentioned here as well, a lot of people, when they think sustainability is about the eco this, eco that, but it's a lot more, as we all know, in this room. So people expect this. They expect you to make an effort, so you better do it because they're not going to come to you. Future of channel management. Now, from a hotel operating perspective, we all know how important our different platforms are. Your Booking.com, Expedia, all your OTAs out there. There's tons and tons of them, and there's more and more. And yes, the majority of those are owned by 2 or 3 companies. But still, they all need to be there. How do you do this? How do you make sure that it's effective? It's not simple about just managing your couple of rates here and there. It's how do you pick your wording? Where do you place it? Your ranking on these platforms of extreme importance. So technology can do this for you, but the majority of people don't use this. Again, business intelligence. How much better would you be able to run your business if you actually had an opportunity in a way to really look at your data, look at that information that you've gathered, and make informed decisions from this? Again, we are gathering information left, right, and center. All this information is available. Sometimes it's not being gathered properly. We all got point of sales, PMSs, different computer systems, CMS. All this information is there, but where is it collated? Where do we create an action plan? So all of those things are important as a business, and that's where, as a business, we often come in and we say, listen, look at this, look at that, look at that. And that's where the consultancy works, but this is not a sales pitch. So, a quick summary. Technology, as was mentioned earlier, is here to stay, is not going to disappear. That's number one. Number two, if you do not implement technology, you are going to fall behind. You will not get customers in future because technology is what they expect. And there's tons of different ways of technology, different things one can do with it. And as we said, there's literally hundreds of touch points where you could use technology in different ways in a traveler's journey. So my presentation today is not so much about telling you what to do and what you should be looking at. It's more food for thought. You saw the big numbers in the beginning where we were saying, listen here, this is the pie. Billions of people, billions of dollars, euros, that are being used through technology, spent through technology. So be ready. Look at your business and think, where am I falling behind? Where can I implement a little bit more? Or where am I doing okay? I'm not saying that businesses are failing at this altogether. The reality is, more than likely, there are places where you could implement technology where you didn't think about it before. I hope that all made sense. I hope everybody's thinking about this and looking at technology a little bit different than earlier. And I welcome any questions.